Tim Burton's poetry anthology, and it's such a quick read, but I've read this a load of times because it's so quick. Basically each of the poems is about a different character who is not quite human, and they exist within the human world, but they are ostracized and isolated, and I just think it feels very similar to the way that Coraline doesn't feel like she's properly part of the community at the Pink Palace, and she feels kind of slightly outside of things. But also because of the illustrations, which in Tim Burton's signature style, it does have that kind of creepy uncanniness that you get in Coraline. So I'll read you one of them just as an example. Okay, this is Stain Boy. Of all the superheroes, the strangest one by far doesn't have a superpower or drive a fancy car. Next to Superman and Batman, I guess he must seem tame, but to me he is quite special, and Stain Boy is his name. He can't fly round tall buildings or outrun a speeding train. The only talent he seems to have is to leave a nasty stain. Sometimes I know it bothers him that he can't run or swim or fly, and because of this one ability, his dry cleaning bill's sky high. There's also Voodoo Girl, which is this one. Her skin is white cloth, and she's all sewn apart, and she has many coloured pins sticking out of her heart. She has a beautiful set of hypno-disguise, the ones that she uses to hypnotise guys. She has many different zombies who are deeply in her trance. She even has a zombie who is originally from France. But she knows she has a curse on her, a curse she cannot win, for if someone gets too close to her, the pins stick farther in. I love this poetry anthology a lot. I really like the combination of the simple writing with the strange absurdity of these characters, and it's kind of so pared down and so matter of fact in a way. I don't know, I think the writing's wonderful, and this it's very Coraline-like. The next is a short story collection, Monstrum by Lottie Mills. This, I would say, is my favourite short story collection of all time. I read it last year completely by chance. I picked up a copy, and each of the stories, again, like with The Melancholy Death of Oyster Boy, it's got characters who are outsiders, and they don't fit into like normal human circles. They're very much outside. So one of the characters, for example, is a doll that's been made and is treated like a daughter. Another is, they're kind of also part set in a circus. And it's very dark. It's kind of, you're never quite sure what's real, what's fantasy, what's imagined. And I think this is the most similar thing to Coraline I've ever read. And then the final book is The Lie Tree by Frances Hardinge. This is a middle grade book, and I love this edition specifically because it's illustrated by Chris Fidel, which obviously adds to it. And it's about this girl whose father kind of randomly says they have to leave their home, and they take a boat to this remote island. I have a feeling it's Scotland. I don't think it ever says, but it feels like Scotland. And this tiny island where everything's falling apart, and they go to this house, and the girl knows that something is not quite right. She knows that there is something brewing. There's something that she doesn't understand. And over the course of the book, and she eventually, and in a cave she finds a tree, and every time she visits this tree it keeps on growing, and it's a tree that feeds on lies. So every time someone lies, the tree grows stronger and its branches become longer. And it's such an interesting premise, but also really has that kind of like that danger, but it's peculiar danger, which I think is what Coraline has, which is very different to, you know, just like a clear set threat. I like how she doesn't understand the lie tree, and the mystery of it is kind of what makes it more terrifying. So those are 3 books I would recommend if you like Coraline, and if you read any of these, you are in for such a treat. I want to reread all of these. But thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I cannot wait for autumn. Can you believe how close it is to autumn now?